Hey you, I'm celebrity menswear stylist Ashley Weston. So whether you like it or not, your hair says a lot about you as a person. It reflects your sense of personal style while also showing the level of pride that you take in your physical appearance. However, sometimes guys choose hairstyles that show that they have a very misjudged sense of personal style or little to no pride in their physical appearance. Ultimately, your hair makes a statement, and sometimes that statement comes across as, my mom cuts my hair, I want to show the world I've given up, and I'm clearly going blind. And not only do women notice, they judge too. I've talked at length about hairstyles that women love on guys, and now the time has come to discuss the ones that we absolutely can't stand. And oh yes, mullets will be included. If you're currently rocking any of these dues, then I implore you to get to the nearest barbershop and take care of it as soon as possible. Okay, here we go. First up, we have an example of how, when it comes to hair, certain trends come and go, while others overstay their welcome for way too long. That's right, we're talking about the most popular men's haircut from the summer of 2015. It's the man bun, or AKA, knot. Admittedly, certain celebrities like Hairstyles and Chris Hemsworth have been able to pull off a man bun in the past, but rocking one nowadays makes you look like you're really out of touch. I mean, you might as well say that your favorite song is Uptown Funk and that you're really confident that the Star Wars sequels are going to be good. Now, don't get me wrong, if you want to grow out your hair, by all means, go for it. It's a super stylish look that, if done right, can really elevate a guy's sex appeal. However, I just don't understand why you'd want to hide your beautiful locks by tying them back into a scruffy bulb that makes you look like a metrosexual samurai. If you want to grow your hair out, then just wear it down en naturel instead, because trust me, it not only looks great, but the last question that a woman wants to ask is, honey, have you been stealing my hair ties? Next up, we have a hairstyle that goes by many names. The Costanza, the Larry David, the Kevin Malone, and as of recently, the Prince William? You know the look I'm talking about, thinning heavily in the center, but with a distinct horseshoe of hair around the sides. It's not exactly bald because there is still hair on the head, but fellas, I'm not gonna lie, it's gotta go. The reason why is that the U-shaped hairline is a look that's pretty much impossible to style into something decent looking. Look, losing your hair is an extremely difficult thing for a guy to go through, but the sooner you accept your imminent baldness, the sooner you can start owning it and making it work for you. This may seem intimidating, but take it from me, so many women find a fully shaved or buzzed head super masculine, virile, and confident. Just look at Bruce Willis, Jason Statham, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Hell, even Stanley Tucci has become something of a modern day sex symbol. The reason why is that all of these guys embrace their baldness rather than clinging to the hair that they have left. It worked for them, and trust me, it's gonna work for you. Next up, we have another blast from the past haircut that very much should have stayed where it belongs in the year 1977. It's the go-to look for deranged taxi drivers, Irish pro wrestlers, and wannabe punk rockers everywhere. It's the Mohawk. So the Mohawk is just so frustrating because it's such a try-hard look that comes across as super juvenile and super, well, stupid. Kind of hairstyle that just feels childish and unsophisticated and makes you look like you borrowed your little sister's hairspray. Also, if you want to look even worse, then go ahead and add some zany colors to your hawk. Jared Leto couldn't pull it off, which means that you definitely can't pull it off either. Also, let's not forget the watered-down version of this whiny punk rocker look, the FAUXHAWK. Straight out of the early 2000s, this particular hairstyle makes you look like you're just coming from the Jersey Shore, and it honestly looked better on Rihanna than it ever will on you. Look, there's nothing wrong with wanting to go long on top, short on sides, but please, I beg of you, just go with a more refined hairstyle like a classic crew cut. It's a much easier cut to pull off and will make you look more leading man, less emo hedgehog. While we're on the subject of crew cuts, there are some men's hairstyles that have managed to look good decades after they first emerged. The pompadour, the slicked back crop, the side part, the list goes on. However, this next look needs to stay in the 1920s along with polio and prohibition. It's the bowl cut. Guys, I shouldn't have to say this. If your hairstyle gets its name from a dish used for serving soup,
stop it. Get some help.
For some reason, the bowl cut is a haircut that somehow refuses to die, and I honestly don't get the appeal. I don't care if you wear it with long hair, a fringe, or a fade. At the end of the day, you just look like your mom put a bowl on your head and cut the hair around the edges. Also, those high and tight bowl cut haircuts that the hipster kids wear.
No!
the bowl cut just makes you look like you're either cheap, starved for attention, or think that Lloyd Christmas is a style icon. Speaking of haircuts that belong in a bygone era, we have a style that comes straight out of the World War trenches. It's the aggressive undercut. Made popular by characters played by Cillian Murphy in Peaky Blinders and Brad Pitt, the aggressive undercut is basically super skin tight on the sides with a big old mop of hair on top that's usually slicked back with some product. You guys do know that this was a haircut that was originally worn to prevent the spreading of head lice, right? It's a look that's just really run its course, yet I continue to see guys who really should know better sporting it in public. Okay, so this next pick is one that you definitely all saw coming, and I just had to include it because it's probably the most famous bad haircut in history. Business in the front, party in the back, never gonna get you laid. It's the mullet. Now, if you were to tell me a few short years ago that the mullet would be back in style in the year of our Lord 2022, I would have laughed in your face. But in a post-pandemic, sure, I can cut my own hair world, this terrible, terrible hairstyle has indeed had a surprising renaissance. I mean, it really forces you to ask,
am I so out of touch? No.
This particular hairstyle, and I use that word generously, first gained popularity in the 70s and 80s and was commonly associated with rednecks and rock stars who really should have known better. However, in recent years, it has been adopted by a number of notable athletes and terrible hipsters who seem to take pleasure in how bad they look. There really is nothing worse than an ironic haircut, and I don't know if what I hate most about the mullet is the short sides and long back, or the smug and misjudged self-confidence you need to think that you can pull it off. Did I mention that I hate it? Moving on. The next haircut women hate is the aging hippie grandfather of the aforementioned man bun. It's the messy ponytail. The thing about the ponytail is that so many guys think they can pull it off when in fact they are very, very wrong. For every 90s David Beckham, there are about 100 dudes who look like they offer free yoga classes out of the back of their windowless van. The thing about long hair, and take it from a woman, is that it requires a lot of maintenance. And this is something that a lot of men don't seem to understand. I'm talking oils, shampoos, conditioners, anti-frizz creams, the work. And if you aren't willing to commit to this kind of upkeep, then your hair will ultimately just look tired and greasy, which looks so much worse when it's pulled back into a dirty ponytail. Also, while we're on the subject, no rat tails, ever, ever, ever. This is a look that should not be rocked by any man at any time. I don't care how long you've been a Jedi or worked as a carny. I mean, it's a hairstyle that takes its name from a rodent, so all this should kind of go without saying, right? The next pick on my list is the preferred hairstyle of astronauts, mall security guards, and ruthless Russian Rocky villains. It's the flat top, aka the coach cut. Dating back to the 50s, this boxy military-inspired haircut has a square shape on top with short, sometimes shaved sides, and ultimately it's just, well, flat. It's unstylish, uninteresting, and it's actually super hard to pull off on pretty much any face shape. However, if you want a look that's just as manly but 70% less creepy, then just take the rest of it off and go for a classic buzz cut instead. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!